Hello everyone. I have decided to move over to this whiteboard today just for a little change of scenery. Today I am going to teach you how to simplify expressions using the distributive property. So I'm going to jump right into it. If you want to grab a piece of paper and a pencil to take these notes, please, and then we'll get started. So our title simplifying expressions using the distributive property. So first of all, we need to discuss what an expression is. Last week, I taught you an equation, or I just kind of talked about it at least. An equation has an equal sign. It's where you're solving for an unknown variable. So you have a left side and a right side, and you need to make sure they balance. Expressions do not have equal signs. It's just 1/2 of an equation. Okay, so that's kind of a cool way of thinking of it. The equation has an equal sign. The expression does not. It's just half of an equation. So I will give you a little note on that right away. But jumping into the distributive property now, this is something that I mentioned in our last lesson, and we're going to dive into it today. So when you think of the distributive property, this is what I want you to think of. You must distribute. Distribute means give or hand out or make sure everybody gets one. Distribute them out. You must distribute the number that is outside of the brackets to all of the numbers and variables inside the brackets. Okay, so you must distribute the number that is outside of the brackets to all of the numbers and the variables that are inside of the brackets. So let's do an example for what that means. It's actually quite straightforward once you see it. So example. So first of all, this is an expression. Okay, it does not have an equal sign. If I were to add an equal sign, say equals 12, well, now this is an equation, okay? So that's the difference. If this was here, that would mean I'm solving for A, right? I have to figure out what A equals, and then when I check, I need to make sure that the two sides balance and they equal 12. But that is not what we're talking about. Where are my erasers on this side? We are just talking about expressions right now. Okay, so this is an expression. Now, we must distribute the number that is outside of the brackets to all of the numbers and variables that are inside the brackets. So I'm going to make little arrows to show you. So -6 must be distributed to A, and it must be distributed to 8, okay? And now we just simplify. That's the whole point of this, right? Simplifying the expressions. So -6 multiplied by A. That's what that means. Remember, when you have a number next to a bracket, it means you're multiplying. So right now you are multiplying -6 by A, which is -6A. Okay, we don't know what A is, and that's not the point, but now we have -6 of them, okay? Now we are multiplying negative 6 by 8. So we're going to keep our plus sign there. We're just going to carry that down. So what is negative 6 multiplied by 8? Okay, this is where your dopey man comes in again. So you have a negative being multiplied by a positive. Okay, so cover those up and you're left with a negative. So we are adding negative 6 times 8 is 48. Okay, so this is how we simplified. We distributed the negative 6 into the A and into the 8. Okay, and then we carry down our adding symbol. All right, so our final answer is negative 6A plus negative 48. Okay, so that is one example. I'm going to move on to another one right now. Okay, example 2. Oh, another 6. Didn't plan that. So this is another expression. There's no equal sign, but it's been flip-flopped. The number isn't on the left side of the brackets, it's on the right side, and that's fine. You do the exact same thing, okay? So this little dot does not have to be there, all right? But I put it there because it is a good example of what you might encounter. A dot like that means multiply, okay? So again, if it wasn't there, actually, this is a really good example. If it wasn't there, I couldn't just do this because now you have a bracket minus 4. So that actually doesn't work. That's why the dot is there. But if the dot wasn't there, you would have to put this in brackets as well. So it now is a multiplying negative 4. Do you see the difference there? So that is why the dot is there. These questions, by the way, are from the example sheet, the assignment sheet that you have. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so again, that dot replaces the brackets that would have been around the negative 4. So we need to distribute. So we are going to distribute the negative 4 to the 7 and to the negative 6p. Okay, so now let's simplify on the next line. So negative 4, we're going to start on the left-hand side. Negative 4 multiplied by negative 6p. Well, first of all, what's a negative multiplied by a negative? It's a positive. So we have a positive. So you could put positive, or again, we never put a positive. Like if you have 1 apple, you don't have positive 1 apples, right? You just have 1. So we're just gonna put nothing. Well, what's 4 times 6? That's 24p, okay? The p is attached to the 6. So you don't have to go negative 4 times negative 6 and then negative 4 times p. They are combined, okay? So you now have 24p. We're going to carry down our symbol. Our plus sign gets carried down. And now, what is negative 4 times 7? So a negative multiplied by a positive is a negative. So since I have 2 symbols beside each other, I have to put it in brackets. So 4 times 7 is 28. And that has now been simplified. So there is your answer. Okay, it's starting to make sense? One more example. Three being multiplied by 5 plus 5x. So in this case, the 3 is in front of the brackets, but it could be on this side. And it doesn't have to be in brackets because there's no negative sign in front of it, right? Like this one. If there was a negative sign, this would mean all of this subtract 3. We don't want to subtract 3 if it was negative, right? So that's just, I'm trying to explain to you why we have brackets sometimes and not others, why we have dots sometimes and not others. So the 3 is perfectly fine all on its own, okay? And it was actually in the front, so I'm gonna move it back. So now we are going to distribute the 3 to the 5 and the 3 to the 5x. So again, whenever you have a number beside a bracket, that means multiply. So 3 times 5 is 15. Carry down your plus sign. 3 times 5x is 15x. And there you have it. That one was pretty straightforward, I think. Okay, so hopefully that's making sense to you. This is a pretty, straightforward concept. You don't have to solve for anything. Okay, so that's the next step, is solving for something. But in order to solve, you need an equal sign. Otherwise you can't, what are you solving for, right? So I'm gonna put a couple just stars, a little note for you to write down on, I put it on the side of my sheet. If you wanna put it on the bottom, that's fine too. Okay, so I just need to erase this. Give me some room. Okay, is that bugging you guys? It's bugging me. Note. Expressions do not have an equal sign, and therefore, comma, you cannot solve for the unknown variable. In these examples, we are just simplifying. These examples. Okay, so whenever you see an expression can't actually be solved, you can work with it and you can simplify things. You can talk about expressions, but I can't figure out what the variable is. So that's kind of a fun fact, if you will. So write these notes down, keep them handy, and answer the questions. There is a front and a back, or on your, it'll come in a scan, it'll be 2 pages. But again, they are very short, simple expressions to simplify, so it won't take you very long at all. Please pay attention to the positive or negative signs, okay? When you are multiplying or dividing, and in this case, we're always multiplying, right? Because the outside number gets multiplied into the brackets. So you need to pay attention to your dopey man, okay? If they are 2 negatives, it becomes a positive. If it is 1 negative and 1 positive, it stays a negative. So please pay attention to that. Remember, your middle symbol always carries down. Yeah, good luck. Have fun with this, and we'll chat again soon.